In this episode, we might have seen a zombie. We endure more toe torture. I did not anticipate how difficult that would be to say. We endure more toe torture. And we struggle to solve a toilet mystery. Thank you for coming back from our replay reviews. My name is Leah.
And my name is Kathy.
We are two friends who are here to replay, review, and analyze your favorite video games. And since Kathy has never seen the games before, it helps me view them through her fresh eyes, almost like I'm discovering them again for the first time.
We hope it'll be a similar experience for you. Final part.
Final part.
It's the end.
Anything you want to say before we jump into scene one, or should we just get it
Let's
rolling?
Yeah, let's get the ball rolling.
Yikes. Okay. So we start off at Sunny Woe's office. He wants to steal a movie role for Vivian. It sounds like she's basically his cash cow.
How has Ricky not throat punched Sunny yet? Because I definitely would have.
Ricky, what are you doing?
Right? Ricky, you know she's going to be thrown to the wolves if something goes wrong. And yet he still's okay with that.
I know. Sometimes I really like Ricky, and then other times I'm like, what a pushover.
Right? Make up your mind. If I was Vivian, I wouldn't want him as a boyfriend.
Oh yeah, especially knowing what we learn later in this episode. But continuing on, Sunny asks Wei to plant cameras at Vivian's because he needs to make sure she doesn't flake on him. Are we sure that's the only reason?
And the thing is, as much as I like Wei, the fact that you so easily agree on carrying out his orders, not questioning things, not giving Vivian or Ricky a heads up, like you're just so complacent.
There's a couple things that Wei does or agrees to that I feel like is a little out of character. But maybe the longer he's part of the triad, the more he sort of loses the moral compass.
As much as I like Wei, at the same time, like, can you maybe show a bit more respect? At least he respects Tang, but Tang's earned it.
Yeah, maybe this is what Peggy was talking about when she said that you need a soft side. I think now that there's not really anyone there, because maybe his sister was out for a while, and then maybe Peggy was starting to be that. Now he doesn't really have anyone. Except Tang, who's a cop, and Mrs. Chu, who's out for blood.
I don't think Mrs. Chu is the best example.
Their interactions have been, go find this guy so I can make soup out of him. Wei has to sneak into her apartment building, and we have to fight through a few guys to get there. I don't know if you noticed at about 3 minutes, 50 seconds, I knocked a guy out, and then I turn around, and all of a sudden he's standing again. And it actually jump scared me just a little bit, which is really sad to admit.
I'm gonna watch it real quick. Oh yeah!
That's zombie number 1 of the episode. Anything before we get to her apartment?
I have to say that I absolutely hate how much of a stereotypical Chinese accent for the security guard at Vivian's apartment. I just heard it, I was like, no! Why?
Yeah, you
so
had
I just have to call that out.
A visual reaction to that. I could feel the discomfort wafting off of you.
Yeah, I was not happy.
Wei is able to bug her apartment, but almost gets caught by Vivian and Ricky. But during this, he gets a text from Pendrew, and he goes to meet him. Wei's still pretty angry about Jackie being arrested, but Pendrew is fully focused on using Woe to bring down Big Smiley. So he wants Wei to get a copy of the video that Woe ordered in order to use that against him to take him down. Wei says he'll only do it if they let Jackie go free, which Pendrew agrees to, but he agreed to it a little too fast for comfort, I felt.
First of all, what pieces are missing with Sunny's case? How come Pendrew is thinking that by taking him down, it's enough for everything to crumble? And especially with Pendrew just being so okay and gung-ho with Wei's demands, when in the past he probably would have given Wei a hard time. I feel like my distrust for Pendrew is growing at this point.
Agreed. I know he's wanting to do this to get to Big Smiley, but the fact that he's willing to let Jackie go so quick when he was so, like, headstrong about taking him in the first place, kind of wishy-washy. Makes you wonder why he actually took Jackie in to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So Wei goes home to get the surveillance video, and Vivian shows up at his door and grabs his crotch. I guess Sunny sent her to thank Wei, but he refuses.
You're the first guy who's ever, thanks, Wei.
Weird exchange.
It is. It's a pointless interaction. It could either be used as an opportunity for Ricky and Wei to have a stronger bromance, like thanks for not doing that to my girl kind of thing, or it can go south because Ricky's going to be like, you what? And just having some misunderstanding from Sunny, just kind of manipulating the situation. And also, it's a great opportunity for Wei to give Vivian a heads up that I planted some bugs in your house, but he doesn't fess up.
What you said just made me think about what Wei is doing that's just bothering me the past couple episodes is he's just very two-sided. I mean, yes, he has the two sides. He's an undercover cop. But it's getting worse. The balance that Wei had earlier is sort of not working anymore.
And Wei also lost a lot of his personality and his warmth and his moral code. And I honestly don't know how much of it is impacted by being in the triads. But the fact that in the earlier scenes that we've seen him, he's like, but it's still a person whether or not they're a triad. But now he doesn't care about Vivian and only cares about Jackie and himself.
And Vivian's pretty innocent in all of this. She's not part of the triad.
Yeah.
So that makes it even worse. So they make the exchange. Pendrew has the video and says that Jackie will go free. And says that the video will put Woe away for a long time. He seems to know that Uncle Po is dead. And Wei says, how did you hear about that? And he says something like, good news travels fast. That's kind of a weird answer.
It is. But I question Pendrew's motives at this point. It's almost like he's working with Big Smile Lee.
So as this exchange continues, Pendrew tells Wei, it's over, your job is done, it's time to come in. And Wei's pretty upset. He says,
I came on to take down the Sun on you, not to shuffle the deck.
Things get pretty heated, and Pendrew references Wei's personal issues again, and at the end says, Shen, you're making a mistake, when Wei refuses to come in.
Well, who is Pendrew to determine... Sorry, I can't say that.
We're having trouble.
It's a long day.
I threw us off with this stupid toe torture.
Who is Pendrew to decide when the mission is over and when the Hong Kong police stops infiltrating the Sun On Yee? I understand he's one of the top dogs, but he really shouldn't be the one who decides when there's still so much unfinished business. And if the second opinion from someone who has the inside scoop, like Wei, is saying that this is not over yet, this is not enough, he should really consider listening. And I know that his ego is massive, but still. So I'm kind of glad that Wei is telling Pendrew to screw himself. But at the same time, it's representing Wei choosing his loyalties to go with the triad.
It does seem like an odd time to try to pull the plug because, yeah, they can put Sunny Woe away, but Big Smiley hasn't been officially taken down yet. You'd think that you would want to ensure that that goes through before pulling Wei in, but yeah, I think that relationship is trashed at this point.
Yeah, it is.
Raymond, speaking of Raymond, he calls Wei to let him know that Jackie's about to be released. What a cool thing for Raymond to do. I was surprised that Wei gets this call. He even says, I thought you might want to be there when he gets out.
He's trying to buy back some goodwill with Wei, especially how he probably knows Pendrew and Wei's conversation went south.
He probably doesn't agree with Pendrew, maybe. When Wei does go to pick him up, Jackie says that a lady cop, Tang, wanted him to be a snitch, but he declined. I don't know about you, but I feel like this is kind of a risky thing for Tang to do. I feel like that's kind of putting Wei at risk a little bit.
I actually thought it would be very normal for Tang to test out if Jackie wants to flip, because it's probably well known in the triads that if you ever get caught, the police are going to ask you to flip on someone. So by not asking, if someone doesn't ask you to flip, then you're going to be pretty suspicious of why it's such a smooth departure. I don't know.
It's questionable.
Yeah.
I don't understand the motive. Especially because Wei said that he doesn't know anything when they wanted to arrest him. So I don't know why they really arrested Jackie. Maybe it was just simply to get to Wei.
I think it was a power move that Pendrew and or Raymond had over Wei to say that I can easily take things or give you things.
So before they head to Uncle Po's funeral, they need to get some more decent clothing on. So they go to a store. And as we're walking in, this guy is walking like a zombie number 2, or he's drunk. He's struggling. And then even after the store, he's still he's made it like 10 feet maximum.
He's hungover. But you're also like shoulder checking everyone while you're walking into, not even
They're in the
walking,
way.
you're like rushing into the fashion store. You're like shoulder checking them.
They shouldn't be there.
And also you're like, screw that 3-point turn when you're done buying clothes and you're leaving. You're like driving backwards, and it's pretty darn impressive that you haven't hit someone, because within scene 1, in the 1 minute, you had like 4 people fly out of your way when you weren't close. But this one, you had no issues at all.
I know, they're all dropping their purses and diving out of the way.
Screaming. You're like purposely hitting cars to shut Jackie up when he gets too chatty.
It's not on purpose. I can guarantee you that.
Oh my god.
They then head to Uncle Po's funeral, and the 18K show up, as do the police, including Pendrew. They arrest Sonny in front of everybody. Wei, I don't know why he does this, but he starts some shit with Pendrew, saying that they can't do this at the funeral. It seems like a mistake to me, because they were leaving, but instead the 18K are allowed to attack them. They didn't stop it.
If he didn't say anything, then they might think that, oh, he's a coward, he's letting the police take Sonny Wo and just let the police take over the situation. Versus if he yelled at the police, it kind of shows that his loyalties aren't with the police. He's fully a triad member. So it's part of him acting as his role currently with the triads. So I thought it was normal.
I see that, but I also feel like because he knows it's Pendrew and they're at odds, I feel like he should have known, don't poke the bear, because you're putting everyone else at risk at that point. I think that's where I'm coming from, is it's endangering everybody else.
Which makes sense. I get it.
It's another lose-lose, I think, for him. Regardless, a shootout begins, and they fight off the 18K. Well, they fight them off together for a while, and then it's just Wei. It's just me for like the last half of it. I don't know where they went. But they decide that they need to elect a new chairman. Of course, no surprise, Big Smiley nominates himself. And he's about to be temporarily appointed, but Jang interrupts, just like last time, saying that they need to have a proper election. Wei takes her side, and from there the consensus is to wait and have a proper election.
I think it's hilarious that Big Smiley thinks that he can just nominate himself and everyone be okay with it because he's the most feared person.
Yeah.
But it's also a demonstration that he has no care for loyalty and traditions.
He wants it too much. Like, he's being a little too desperate about it, and that kind of energy is just making everybody a little wary of him. So Conroy texts Wei. He said something big is going down and to come to North Point. Wei arrives to find a fight, and after defeating them, he gets another text that Mrs. Chu's restaurant is now being attacked. On the way there, they're having a conversation, and Wei says, Big Smiley's coming after us. I guess he figures we can't vote against him if we're dead.
Holy cow, with the amount of choices you can get, of how to kill someone, because you can either slam them into a moving fan or throw them into the trash bin,
Yes.
or in the previous episodes, you just toss them onto swordfishes.
Excellent variety. Maybe not
Man.
as satisfying as Mrs. Chu whipping that cleaver out again and killing this guy that's about to threaten or kill Wei.
I love the demonstration how a cleaver is a woman's best friend. Miss Chu teaches us how to attack attackers.
Wait for them to turn their back. After the very long war, Wei heads to Ricky to try to sway him onto his side and ensure that he does not vote for Big Smiley. But on the way there, Wei realizes that he hasn't kept track of Jackie, and they try calling him, but he doesn't answer. So Wei gets to Ricky, and he's pissed because he thinks that Wei slept with Vivian, probably a lie that Wo told him, assuming that Wei wouldn't reject her. But in her explanation, and Vivian's explanation to Ricky, she mentions that the police are using a sex tape to blackmail her into testifying against Sunny. And Wei says, "What do you think Lee will do to her when he hears?" So there's a pretty good case for Ricky to flip on his current allies and join Wei.
Wei did give Pendrew information about it, and it probably had the information that Pendrew is now holding over Vivian's head. And Wei never apologizes or fesses up that he's the reason why she's being blackmailed with this information. And again, demonstrate just his character is starting to fall more in line with Triad members' personality types than a police officer correcting his wrongs.
Definitely. Although in this case, it's probably a good thing that he didn't fess up, because I think what kind of clinches Ricky is when Vivian says,
Of all the people Sunny told me to be with, Wei is the only one who said no. The only one. Even you. You didn't say no.
Ricky! I want to like Ricky so bad, but I just can't.
And if Ricky died and we had to do Mother Respect or Mother, I think he would be in the latter.
Did we do one for Uncle Po? Because he had an off-screen death.
Oh, I don't think so. No? I don't feel like I know him enough to give a good ending.
Mother neutral, considering we
Yeah.
don't know much about him.
Yeah.
Alright. So Wei goes to meet, or I guess confront, Raymond. Raymond says, "Pendrew doesn't know I'm here. I'm completely violating protocol." Thoughts on that line? Because that's the first thing that stands out to me, because as we've been discussing Raymond's character, we've kind of landed on he's very much by the book, but now he's violating protocol.
Well, I think this is an opportunity for us to see Raymond doesn't agree with Pendrew and he might be a good guy. Like, he might flip on Pendrew. And maybe it could build something like a storyline where Raymond has Wei's back.
The last few interactions that we've had with the police, it puts up a lot of red flags with Pendrew, and Raymond's getting cooler. He let Wei know about Jackie, now he's violating protocol just to give Wei this information. Raymond has a line, he says, "I never wanted you for this, after what Dog Eyes did to your sister, and how you handled things in San Francisco." What happened in San Francisco?
I'm wondering if Raymond was part of the team that worked in San Francisco, or maybe Wei has such a reputation that it carried across seas to Hong Kong.
This might be something in Wei's file, so we'll go over those for the summary episode, but I'm curious what happened in San Francisco. I feel like we need a prequel. Raymond continues,
Wait, you crossed Pendrew, right? He's cut you off. This is your last chance to come in clean.
What? But what's he gonna do? Arrest me? Call me a rogue cop? Look, I need you to be straight with me. Is he gonna blow my cover?
I don't know what he'll do. Not anymore.
again, Raymond's pretty cool now. He's really trying to help Wei. Do you think he maybe feels like Pendrew used Wei?
I think he's probably at his wit's end with the way Pendrew has been treating this entire situation. Maybe he himself doesn't agree that it's time to pull Wei back in, but he's just taking orders from Pendrew. So maybe he's just really seeing how far is Wei going to take things to. It might be a test to see if Wei is still loyal to the cause or to Pendrew.
But he tries again to get Wei to go with him. This conversation, it's sort of the first time that we see Raymond truly appreciating Wei. Before, he's been more working as a handler, trying to just keep him straight, but it's almost like he sees now that he had it backwards. Wei is the good guy, and Pendrew is the one that can't be trusted. But can Wei fully be trusted at this point? I ask that because Raymond distrusted him more at the start of the game, but I feel like as the game goes on, Wei gets less trustworthy from a law enforcement standpoint. We've seen him do some questionable things in recent parts. Is Raymond's timing off for putting his trust in Wei?
Raymond is just getting comfortable with not trusting Wei, but at the same time trusting him to do what it takes. Raymond is probably thinking that he's not going to do what I ask him to do, but the end results are going to be what I need to do. So I'm going to trust you to do the right thing, but not trust you as a person.
Raymond's not really giving up, and he keeps trying to get Wei to come in, but Wei gets a call that interrupts the conversation, and Jackie has been taken, so Wei leaves to find him. Here's a question. Do you think that Wei would have gone in with Raymond if he didn't get that call?
Wei has never trusted Raymond in this entire game, so I would be surprised if he ends up trusting Raymond and does what he asks at this point in time.
I think the difference is that Pendrew's outing him, pretty much. I mean, he's breaking protocol. I feel like Wei was considering it, and I feel like he was considering it because Raymond's breaking protocol to do this for him, and he's trying to warn him, like, Pendrew has cut you off. You have to come in now, or basically you're done for.
I don't know. I feel like Wei just doesn't want to do anything with the HK police, so he's not going to do as he's been told.
I think maybe the dilemma that is happening is what we've seen with Wei from the get-go, and what Raymond has been worried about, which is what happens with the triad causes Wei to maybe not think straight at times. Because I think it was the wrong choice for him to not go in. He could have asked for Raymond or Tang's help. He could have used police resources to try to find Jackie, but he immediately just reacts and runs off. So maybe that's kind of what's happening here, or why I have a weird feeling about it. Wei does a lot of fighting and traveling to get to Jackie, and he does eventually get there, but I think he might have had some notes before we talk to Jackie.
One of them is the amount of times you take over people's cars. Like, you just hop in, kick them out, and does it even still count as, is it commandeering? That's the correct term of, like, if a police takes someone's
I think
car,
so,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Does that even count for undercover cop? Because you do it way too frequently.
That's a good point. He doesn't ever, like, flash a badge. He just shoves people out of the car. So it's not like he's doing it as a cop.
Which is a very triad move, though.
Yeah, he's really more doing it as a triad.
Yeah. And there's one point where you're fighting, and I love this insult, is you're as dumb as you look. Such a great insult
good.
that I'll probably be using.
That was a good one. After the as dumb as you look insult, the guy that, like, jumps down, what's his name, Horseface? That derpy jump he does, I just can't. It's so uncomfortable.
All these fight scenes make me very uncomfortable.
So eventually, though, we do get to Jackie, who has just recently been buried alive. And Jackie tells Wei that Big Smiley is to blame.
I'm, like, constantly worried about Jackie dying. Like, since part 1, the back and forth of, is he going to die? Oh, he's going to be okay. Oh, no, he meets a girlfriend. He's going to die. And then be like, I think he's okay. Wei saved him. My gosh, the amount of stress I have for Jackie's mortality it's too much.
He's gotten it pretty rough. I mean, just from the get-go of being used as a way to get Wei in. Like, he doesn't even know everything that's happened to him.
He's pretty naive as a triad member.
He is. But I think he's starting to realize that because it sounds like he's had enough and wants out of the life. And they end their conversation with him saying, like, he just wants to go for a walk. Anything before the next morning?
And he died.
I guess not. The next morning, Wei gets a text from Jackie who asks him to come meet him as he has something to show Wei. Wei arrives to find Jackie dead and gets knocked out while trying to get him down. The bait and switch this game pulls so quick. You're worried he's dead. No, he's alive. He's just buried alive. 2 minutes later, if that, he's dead.
The gasp. I gasp.
You moved air with that gasp.
I was shocked. My goodness. I finally thought he would be maybe okay. But then 3 seconds later, he's dead.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's laying there peacefully. It's like he's bloodied up and tortured. And I feel terrible.
He's strung up. His guts are spilling out.
He didn't deserve it.
He didn't deserve it.
It was just to get to Wei. And I hate the fact that they do that to poor Jackie. I was really hoping he would survive and just go with Jumei and leave, but we know no good things come to those who are in the triads, like Winston and his girlfriend. And I need to ask you, what's your realization?
Because my first thought was like, oh, I guess Wei should have just let Jackie stay in prison, right? But then I thought, oh my gosh, that's why Pendrew so quickly agreed to let him out, is because he knew, I'm just going to send somebody to kill him anyway.
Oh,
Do you think this is an
right.
FU from Pendrew, or is this strictly a triad-ordered murder?
I think it's Pendrew wanting to get Jackie killed just to get to Wei. And I think that's why Tang asked Jackie to flip on them so she can oversee and make sure that Jackie stays alive because she knows he's important to Wei. And by having him flip, he would become an important, like a undercover agent. I don't know if not undercover.
You'd have some police protection,
CI
at least.
It would be he would be a CI, and so maybe Tang was looking out for him.
I could see it. I feel like this is definitely an FU from Pendrew, though. 100%.
It's really sad.
Oh no.
I would
Jackie.
say, I know, poor Jackie. He could have survived, but honestly, he was always collateral.
He's just always been in the middle of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not 100% innocent, but he's innocent to the things that are happening around him, to a point.
I think the fact that he feels guilty of killing someone goes to show he still has a lot of goodness. I don't know what's the right term, but he still had
innocence.
Some kind of innocence in him. And the fact that he wanted to leave just showed that he still has no malicious intent to continue to kill people, whether or not they deserve to die. And I think that's what makes him a mother respecter.
Yeah. He's not cut out for it, and I mean, this is proof of that. But I have to agree. Jackie, anything he did bad, I think, was just out of him being naive. I don't think he really understood the world, because every time he got an actual dose of it, he was really affected and really disturbed. And in the end, he wanted to get out. So, yeah, I think he's a mother respecter because, especially with the baseline of they're all triad, he's the only one who we see actually getting, like, sick of it. Mother respecter. So long, Jackie. Alright, so sometime later, Wei wakes up to a Mr. Tong, who seems to know that Wei's a cop, but Wei refuses to admit that he is. So Tong starts to torture him until he passes out. Kathy the toes. Again. At least it's a normal hammer and not a sledgehammer like poor Tachibana's piggies.
I was just about to say that this is really unnecessary, and it reminds me of Tachibana. The torture, like, come on, like, slicing him up, and then...
The drill in the kneecap?
Drill... I'm not one to be that squeamish, but this scene just made me so wanting to vomit, nauseous.
It happens really fast.
I wasn't expecting it.
And it gets intense, like, out of nowhere.
It was really gross.
So Tong says that Jiang will be disgraced and Li will be head of the Sun On Yi. After being passed out for a while, Wei comes to and manages to get out of his restraints and is sneaking through this under construction building, just taking people out. And at one point he goes into a restroom, and does that toilet seem enormous to you?
It is not proportional.
It's huge.
That toilet to the right of it, what is it for? Like, is it
What is
a
that?
bidet? I feel very uncultured right now, so don't come at me. But what is it for? It's like, we have a sink, so I know you're not wash your hands. Is it to wash your bum, or is it a urinal and you just have water to rinse it down? Like, I don't really know.
The thing is, there's 2 handles, which very much to me indicates hot and cold. So I don't know. Maybe you can give yourself a little invigorating bidet shot or a warmer one.
There's no indicator of the water going upwards. It looks like the water's
Yeah.
just going to go downwards to rinse things out. So is it used as a urinal? But if
Right.
you put handles, I feel like those who can't aim are just going to get those handles dirty.
Oh god. Which is all of them. By the way. Anyway, we don't know what that thing is or why the toilet is so huge. I like went up to that guy's thighs. Like that's not that's not normal. Also though, while he's going through beating everybody up, one of them screams, "He's killing everybody." It's just the most wild cry for help I've ever.
Yeah. This is a wild scene, I will say, between crying for help like that, a wildly enormous toilet seat
So
thing,
much going on.
right? And also, he kills someone by using a table saw, which was too much for
Sure
me to
does.
handle.
It's a lot of blood.
And then throws someone into a pipe where the pipe just pretty much pierces through his entire body.
I feel like leaving jagged pipes like that, though, isn't up to code, so that might be on them.
The violence in these last 30 minutes of the game is more than the entire game itself.
I also don't know how he's functioning at all after what happened to him, but
Right?
We'll just
How's
ignore
he
that.
alive with his body being cut open, drilled, hammered?
his toes
My
are
gosh.
intact again somehow. Anyway, fighting his way out of the building, he eventually runs into Tong, who he beats. Immediately after this, Lee texts Tong's phone and says we need to deal with Jang next.
Tong obviously has a Mary Poppins briefcase because how the heck did he pull out such a long saw from this tiny little briefcase?
I know.
Is it a collapsible saw? Do those even exist? But I love how Wade takes advantage of it and continues to use the saw to kill people.
Oh, yeah. I also like that is what is in his briefcase. He doesn't just have it, on his belt or something. He carries it around in a briefcase. But yes, the way that Wei uses it to kill him, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then he changes his
Karma.
clothes, but still has the machete.
How is he not bleeding through his clothes?
How is he a lot of things? I know. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, on his way to confront Lee, Wei replays memories of his undercover experience so far. I like this scene. I feel like it's a very good, well, it's a long drive, so it's a way to make that a little bit better for the player, but it's a good way to sort of reflect on everything that's happened and sort of understand where Wei is at this point.
I think it's a great way to summarize everything he's experienced. He's also at the point where he's not quite triad, but he's not quite police officer. So this is just him being in a neutral space, analyzing all the facts that he has.
I feel like he's kind of in shock still. Out of the whole
I mean, the man just
experience.
almost died.
Yeah. I think he's in shock and he's tired and he knows he's on his way to end it. And so maybe he's reflecting on everything. But he arrives at Big Smiley's compound, but it contains a restaurant. And it seems there are some patrons there that are not triad. They're running out of the building and one of them screams,
Mommy, mommy, save me, mommy!
Oh, it's very sad.
as I'm laughing. Thanks.
Yeah. You were very smart and efficient to take the car and just run everyone over. I was like, Leah, like, run those people over. And you, like, I don't need you to tell me because that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you just start efficiently killing everyone.
Oh yeah. Started out with Tong's guys guarding his car. I don't know what they were thinking, trying to stop me. They should know my driving habits.
Right?
But oh my gosh, it was so satisfying just clearing everybody out with that car.
And then you did like a tuck and roll and come rolling out of the car. 10 out of 10 execution right there.
I was trying to play as I felt Wei felt, which is unhinged.
Yeah.
Wei catches up to Big Smiley, who says, "How does it feel, pig, to know your boss sold you out?"
No surprise there.
Not at all. And then he continues to say,
And you fucked your way, almost as bad as you fucked Jackie.
"That's a line to unpack."
That's not fair. That's not fair of Big Smiley to say that.
Is it?
I
mean, it wasn't Wei's intention. At least Big Smiley has a point. He might be exaggerating a little bit, but he has a point.
He does, but I feel like Wei had no choice but to use Jackie for the introduction to get him where he is. The thing is, it's not really Wei keeping Jackie in it. Jackie would have been involved either way. He wouldn't have gone so far up, but he would still be involved, and he probably would have died at Winston's wedding. Jackie himself was a grown adult. He could choose to leave any time he wanted, but he continued to stay here. It may have been because of Wei. I feel like at the same time, depends on how guilty Wei wants to make himself feel.
Let me add this. This might be what I think both of us are trying to touch a little bit.
Uh-huh.
This line is almost a confirmation of what we just thought of. Penju ordered Jackie's death to get to Wei. Maybe this is a confirmation of, yeah, it's your fault he's dead. Because we killed him to draw you out.
Yeah.
Like, you have a point. He could have died at any point. But ultimately, the reason that he died was to get to Wei.
It's an indirect cause of death that Wei partakes in.
After some struggle, Wei is able to kill Big Smiley. How'd you feel about the ice chipper, Kathy?
Good grief. What a violent way of killing him. Like, I know he deserves to die, but holy cow.
In the aftermath, Raymond shows up and informs Wei that Pendra is up for promotion. He says,
Take it from me, Wei. Whatever you heard, it won't matter. The only voice they hear is Pendra's.
So basically there's no hope in trying to turn him in. So I think Raymond fully knows Pendra's crooked, and Wei's the good guy, maybe a little off the path.
Raymond still didn't say anything. He didn't become a whistleblower. I just feel like he didn't try enough. I don't know. I guess if he did try and it didn't work out, him just turning a blind eye and not giving Wei a heads up.
Well, but he did warn Wei. He tried to get him to come in as soon as he found out.
Oh, of finding out that Pendra's dirty?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking more like early on, like tampering of evidence.
I guess that's my question. I don't think he knew about that. Or maybe it's the question.
I thought Raymond knew everything.
I don't think he does. Because I think this answers some of our questions about, well, why is Pendra showing up this time when Raymond was the one on the phone? Or where's Raymond been? I think maybe that's the disconnect, is how much did Raymond know? Sometime later, Wei receives a thumb drive sent to him by Jang. On the thumb drive is a video of Pendra and Uncle Po in the hospital. Seems like they had a deal at some point, but now the deal is off because of Pendra, and he kills Uncle Po.
How are there no nurses to make sure that Pendra isn't there alone with Uncle Po?
They all died in the shootout.
Oh gosh.
No, I don't know. How does he just
Wander in.
How does he have so much time in there? Yeah. To just walk in, have a conversation, euthanize a guy. As he's dying, Uncle Po's final words.
The only difference between you and me is I know what I am.
how you interpret this sentence.
I interpret it as they're both criminals, but Uncle Po knows he's a criminal, whereas Pendrew is pretending like he's doing it for the greater good, which I think we'll see in the next scene too.
That's similar to how I understood that sentence. Like, he knows he's the head of Sun On Yi and he's a proud triad member. Pendrew is playing both sides of the game. He doesn't own it. He uses other people and is a backstabber to move himself up, but he never really earned it, and he can't really outright own who he is. He continues to hide half his personality. Throw him in jail. Kill him.
Exactly. Thankfully, later on, Pendrew is in custody, and Wei, wearing his badge, walks in and informs him that he'll be spending life in prison with all the men he put away.
You ready for life in prison?
What?
Because all your old buddies are gonna be waiting for you. I made sure they found out what you did to Uncle Po.
That's a fucking death sentence.
I know.
Karma.
What we were just talking about with Uncle Po's last words, when Wei walks in the room, Pendrew says, "I made Hong Kong better." So it's like he actually thinks that he's doing good, which maybe, but that's like secondary. And then by comparison, he says, "You let them get to you."
I almost feel like Pendrew is saying that he made Hong Kong better, not truly believing that it's all for self-interest. He doesn't know who he is, because is his goal to make Hong Kong better, or his goal to make himself more powerful? So it's making himself feel better that he's making Hong Kong a better place when he's enabling Big Smiley, who was only going to make things worse.
Moving on, Wei meets with Inspector Tang, and he thanks her for helping him to stay sane with all the police work he did. Basically, it stopped him from going full triad. And then skipping ahead in this short conversation, Tang asks Wei what he's going to do next, and he says, "I don't know, Hong Kong kind of feels like home," and walks away. Just after he's out of earshot, Tang says, "Yeah, but which Hong Kong?" That's my favorite line in the whole game.
Do you think she means like Hong Kong from a triad's perspective, or like Hong Kong from a police perspective?
I do.
Do you think is that what she means, like two sides of Hong Kong?
Yeah, I think she means like, what are you going to be, Wei? Because she knows that he was really in both of them. It's great.
It is. I have something else I want to add to it, but we need to talk about Sister Jing first.
Yeah, so the final scene in this game, Jing and I think Pockmark are watching Wei from the limo. They're discussing what to do about Wei, and she says that he proved himself to be loyal to her in his own way, and so she decides to leave him be. Pockmark says, "Yes, Aunt Jing." So this is a pretty clear indication she's the new chairman. She's the new Uncle Po.
And I think her leadership may be the third type of Hong Kong. You have Hong Kong from the police perspective. You have Hong Kong from Wei's perspective as a triad member. But you can also have Hong Kong as Wei still helping the Sun On Yi / Aunt Jing, but making it a better place.
Well, it's also just an interesting, question, I guess, because Wei's assignment that he himself says is to take down the Sun On Yi. But now Jang's running the Sun On Yi. So did he really? I know we like Jang, he likes Jang, but did he really accomplish his mission? Can you even?
No, because another one's just going to pop up. You choose the lesser of two evils.
I like this ending. I like Pendrew in jail. I like Wei free. And I like Jang as the chairman, but my question is just, I guess, not the question, but the kind of like unsatisfactory piece is just, well, the triad's still the triad. Is it really over?
I'm with you, and my question is like, I'm satisfied with everything you're satisfied with, but my question is Wei going to go after the Sun On Yi?
There was a sequel planned, I think, but it got scrapped at some point. Well, that's it. We finished the game. We will wrap it up next week in the summary episode. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of debates between the two of us.
See you next week. Audacity on 1, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to send in any questions, comments, or game suggestions. You can find all our contact info on our website, replayreviewspod.com, or contact us directly through our site.
Did we completely miss something? Are we way off the mark? Or you just want us to take a deeper look at anything from the game? We'll tackle any topics you all want to hear in our season wrap-up episode.
We also have a Reddit where we discuss anything we're curious about. Go take a look and let us know what you're thinking. Our theme music is Condemned by Eggy Toast. They'll play you out, and we'll be back next week with the summary episode.